Thank you for joining me for this Rune reading, which takes a different slant on the new UK Prime Minister and the Tory leadership to this morning's Rune reading, the one that I recorded this morning, which went out on YouTube around 7 o'clock. This reading looks at the popularity with the people aspect rather than the viability and stability aspects, which were the focus of this morning's reading. So I'm now going to share my screen with you so that I can show you the runes that I have here. Let's just make that a bit bigger. Here we are. So it's interesting, I feel very much, that we have in the top row, which really looks more at the outcome rather than the initial stages, that we have our or Yera, because that came in reversed with this morning's reading, and it's coming powerfully in its upright position, in its most beneficial position with this reading, which is really what the public will be demanding from their government. They understand the need sometimes for restrictions, but there is this feeling we've had enough. And no matter how much it is explained to us, we cannot see how we have arrived in this position without bad decision making along the line. And whilst I feel more information will be available and there will be explanations that will help people to understand the basis of the position as it stands at the moment, particularly the economic position. But people will be asking, why was this allowed to happen? Why was such and such decided quite a while ago? Because we didn't, and there was nothing then about the implications of that, although some things have changed in the world, and of course that couldn't really be bargained for. But there were other things that people would say, yes, they should have known better, they should have done something different earlier, rather than just endlessly expecting people to adapt and to pick up the pieces. So let's come back to the runes in the bottom row, which show, the reaction pattern that is uppermost. Of course, people do have different opinions, and some people will feel like this and others won't. But at the end of the day, it also perhaps depends how much the situation impacts on a person and their loved ones. That is obviously going to make a difference. If it doesn't hit you too hard, if the changes and the restrictions don't make that much of a difference or don't make a crucial difference, then it's easier to bear with them, isn't it? Than if it hits you very hard and you're really struggling to hang on, to your home, to put food on the table, or you're just looking at life and thinking, well, is it going in a direction that I would like to see it going? And has it been going in a direction that is satisfying for some time? And I feel many more people will be asking this question because of the disarray that has been around within the leadership, but of course in everyday life as well, because of that and the general feeling that so many feel they don't know if they're on foot or horseback, and then they feel they're being asked to continue with that and to accept in a way more postponement before they can think about improvement. And there is a great deal of disappointment and discontent that is shown in these runes, because Kaunas in the left hand here, it's all about what we feel we need to heal. And there's a desire here for greater inspiration and creativity within the leadership when it comes to working on problems, working on issues, finding ways forward, finding ways that are more to the benefit of more of the people. This indication here is strong, and many people will say, well, what's happening now doesn't give them the feelings that they need to heal, to move forwards, to start building contentment, that what's on offer is providing in a way nothing much that contributes towards that, but plenty that is a distractor factor or a diversion from that. So there's dissatisfaction there, but I feel it's the central rune that indicates the greatest sort of unhappiness with the situation, really, because not only is there the sense of being too restricted, that there's the question, to what avail are we restricted? Because we've been told this for a long time. And now it seems that not only has wealth flowed away from us, as they see it in their particular circumstances, they don't see an end to that. They just feel that, they are getting, in a way, poorer, but that the heavy hand, life and authority seems to expect them to carry more and to do more and to be more without it being obvious what they're going to receive back, other than some sort of promise for the future. But when is that promise? And that is the question mark there. When is that promise of that what they're doing is worthwhile, that what they're doing will create something better, that actually manifests in their own lives. I mean, here I'm talking about people that are really struggling, but so many people are struggling, or they know someone that is. And, those people are people that were usually doing okay until comparatively recent times. So there is this also feeling that the people feel blamed when they did not make the decisions. But this is something that, again, it's the opposite of contentment. It's the fact that people feel, in a way, poorer. And we're not talking just about finances here. We're talking about poorer in mind, body, and spirit. The feeling that they're not being listened to, not feeling cared about, not feeling that they're part of the dance of life, or they're so far on the periphery of the dance of life that they're almost invisible. And then on the right, we have Thorazaz, which is about the barriers, the boundaries, again, the limitations that it feels are getting greater. And with this, it's the heaviness. And again, the question of how does this work in my favor? How will this work in my favor? We are told that it will, but we've been told, that various aspects that people call roughly austerity, that it is getting better, and it's producing something. But people are now questioning that. More people are questioning that in a major way, as indicated here. So what this is saying is that the public popularity aspect is very low, and nothing much is indicated here that would point out, that it's being raised. because when we move to our Oyera, which is much more positive, we're talking about what people are pushing towards. It's not really about what this government is doing for them. It is what they are moving towards. And there is a big difference there, a really big difference, because it shows that the people are looking to other, other parties, other ways, perhaps even creating something in the longer term that will bring something different, that is something different. And I don't see that as being a tide that can be pushed back. It's something that has its own force, its own power, and people, I feel, looking at these runes, people will just be ready to say, we've had enough of this. We want to move forwards. We want change. This is not good enough. And it's interesting thinking about how that might play out. We know that we might know who the new leader is, even on Monday, or we may have to wait until Friday, or presumably some point in between. But as I'm looking at this, it doesn't seem to matter too much who the leader is. It is that people have had enough of the trajectory and they want something different. And too many people are no longer willing to just sort of be patient and hope that what is happening will take them to a better place, because they've experienced now too much for too long, and the promise hasn't been fulfilled. So that's what I'm seeing with these runes, is there is dissatisfaction that a new leader isn't really going to be able to get over. They have lost popularity, and their policies and ways that are being operated or likely to be operated are not helping at all, because people are ready for something different. And we have to look at this. Everything has its season, and people are looking for a different season in a way, aren't they? A different flavour, a different trajectory. And we all know that there are many times, it's happened many times in my lifetime, that people have sought change. And then when enough people feel that way, and there is enough pressure, change comes about. And these are my thoughts on the situation with the popularity aspect. And I am talking about the near future here. And as I mentioned in the reading that I completed this morning, I'm feeling that even up until Christmas, it's quite a long time, and there's a lot of water that can go under the bridge within that time scale. So it was quite interesting to do this reading, because I just wondered, what the runes would have to say about it, because sometimes you have a new leader and it really does make a difference to the enthusiasm that people feel. But it doesn't seem that it's likely to be that way, that there's a downturn and people are ready for something else. So unless something radically different can be offered by the Tory party, different to what they are indicating at the moment, it does seem that their season is, coming to an end, and something different will take its place, which is quite exciting.